Hello, everyone. Today I'm sitting here with Frank Corbin, the broker of record for Remic Realty, and with Aliza Blair, who's one of our realtors with Remic Realty as well. My name is Desiree Tuitt. Today we're going to get down and dirty. We're going to talk about that dirty word that we don't like to discuss, and that word is debt. It's 2016, people, and how much debt are you taking on? Now, debt is something that we see all around. It's in TV shows. We have a show, Till Debt Do Us Part, that shows that it breaks up relationships. And it's something that's often a taboo that we don't want to discuss. But today it's not going to be a taboo, because actually debt can be a good thing. Mm-hmm. Debt can actually help you get ahead in life, and we're going to discuss how it can do that. So, Frank, we talk about debt, being able to leverage your debt to create a positive cash flow or to create wealth. Mm-hmm. Can you introduce us to that and tell us how we can do that?
Absolutely, Desiree. Now, what's going on? Debt is like the dirtiest four-letter word. For mainstream media pumping in people's brain, you got to pay down your debt, you got to pay down your debt, and that's absolutely true. They should be doing that. But we're going to look at debt today from a positive perspective, where we can use debt as an asset. So my perspective is every single year, you should be taking on more asset debt. And what is asset debt? Is when you have an asset that has a debt attached to it, predominantly real estate, and that debt is being leveraged or being paid on by someone else, like your tenant or so on. So every single year, people should be taking on more and more and more asset debt. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I've personally tried to explain that to a friend of mine who owns one home, and he lives in the basement and rents out the upper level. And when I mentioned, he said, Desiree, I'm not taking any more debt on, because no matter what you're saying, people still look at it as being more debt underneath their portfolio, and it can be scary.
Right.
So how do you get that mindset? Aliza, you're a realtor. How would you encourage someone to have that mindset to take on this additional debt?
Well, I think one of the things that I love about Remic Realty and what we do with our clients is we show them the long-term benefit of taking on that debt. Mm-hmm. So what it means, from buying the first home and how to leverage that property into the next home. Mm-hmm. Like Frank said, everybody has a different timeline and their risk factor. So based on their comfort zone, they need to look at an individual picture and see what they can take on in terms of risk, mm-hmm. and then move forward that way. But we look at the benefit. We look at the long-term benefit. What can they do with that asset 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now? What does that portfolio look like? You think about education is getting very expensive. And you have children, I have children, Frank has children. And paying for that college education is going to be quite costly.
Absolutely.
So where does that money come from? We're not in an era where we can save thousands of dollars every year for one child, never mind two children or three children. So asset debt in that sense, and showing them the benefit of that's the picture that I paint for the client, mm-hmm. and what they want to do in the future, and how asset debt can actually help them to propel that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Frank, do you want to add anything to that?
No, but she's absolutely right. Taking on the debt is great, but one thing to even help people with a peace of mind experience, there's nothing wrong in taking on debt. The question should actually say, who's paying for it?
Right. So who should be paying for it?
Well, if it's real estate, it'd be paid for by your tenants.
Okay.
If it's any other business, it'd be paid for by your customers. Mm-hmm. If it's your personal debt, it'd be paid for by you.
Okay.
So we want to get away from the debt that paid for by ourselves and get involved in the leverage debt or the asset debt. Mm-hmm. Okay? And every single year, we should be taking on more and more debt as we proceed to build wealth. It's the only way to become successful, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You actually mentioned a very good word, which is leverage. I don't think people understand what leverage actually means. So from a real estate perspective, mm-hmm. how would you explain leverage?
Well, we have a two-tier leverage with real estate. First of all, if you buy a property, you have 20-80% leverage, or 90-10 or 90-10 or 95-5% leverage. That means you put 5% down, the bank finance 95%. You put 10% down, the bank finance 90%, and 20% the bank finance 80%. Okay. That's leverage. You're 10% to the bank's 90%. That's the first leverage you have. The second leverage you have is the tenants paying for it. You buy the property, you own the property, the tenants pay off your debt for the rest of the next 25 years. That's not a leverage. There's a third leverage of real estate as well. The third leverage is the tax incentive you get from owning the property.
Right.
So leverage. So I look at all these three different factors of leveraging, or also another leverage as well. Market appreciation leverage. You own a property, she owns a property, we own a property, combine, the market demands it more, it appreciates, another form of leverage.
Okay.
So when I look at all that put together under one umbrella, it's like the best acquiring asset the average family should be looking at acquiring every single year.
Absolutely.
Right. And if a yearly is too soon, is too harsh, it's a short time frame, maybe you can do it every 2 or 3 years, maybe every 5 years. There's no rush. The question is, are you actually doing it, or are you actually adding on debt on an ongoing basis, or leverage debt on an ongoing basis to your portfolio? Yeah.
Now, I think a lot of people know this, and I remember once I was having a meeting with a lady, and she said, you know, Desiree, I've been looking at the real estate market since the 80s. A lot of people get stuck in that thought process, and they don't take action.
Right.
So how do you encourage them to start taking action, number one? And number two, a fear of a lot of people, too, is taking on additional debt and worrying about, what if tenants aren't there? How do I pay this mortgage?
Okay. Well, again, like any other business, there's always a little bit of risk, but I think real estate minimizes that risk for the most part compared to any other business a person want to start. So the thing with tenants that people always concerned and worry about is tenants not paying, tenants destroying your place. Listen, if you own an investment property, tenants will have some form of wear and tear on your property. That's mandatory. It will happen. It's a house. They're going to be using it. They have a little bit of wear and tear. To minimize tenants not paying or default, the first thing you need to do is actually do your pre-qualification upfront for your tenants. That means checking them out properly. Do your due diligence. First thing, are they employed? Are they working? That should be number one thing. Next, what their credit history is like. Okay, are they paying their bills on time? They are the bills. Now here's the thing, and you have to be careful with this. A person could be paying their credit card bills on time, but not paying their rent. So how do we find that out? We want 3 to 6 months bank statement from maybe a couple of the bank accounts, predominantly the one they'll be paying you the check from. Okay, now what you're looking for in that bank statement, NSF checks. Very important. NSF check, looking for bounce checks. So when we do those, and also once you get the employment letter from the tenants, you call and verify the person even have a job, verify they even work there, and the length of history, how long they been working there.
Right.
Okay, and then the other thing you can do as well to seal the deal, call a few of their references and also the previous landlord. So if you do all that work up front, it minimizes you making any mistake and bringing a bad person in your house. Okay, yeah.
Right.
But the other thing with it, when you work with us at Remake Realty, we actually do the initial work up front for you to fill your property with tenants. So your first set of tenants, we put them in, we do all the work, pre-qualify, and then once that is done, we transfer those documents over to you, and you get to see exactly who you're getting involved inside your property.
Okay.
Excellent.
Aliza, is that some of the advice you give as well, or do you have anything to add?
Absolutely. No, it's that's the point. The peace of mind experience is a one-stop shop. So we take everybody from, and even before purchasing the property, it's meeting with our mortgage broker and making sure the numbers make sense. You know, we just had a client come in last week, and financially she looks great on paper. Credit score is good. She's got savings, a bit of a down payment, and she's on track. Sometimes you may not be ready to go right away, but you need to make sure that you're in the right position to be able to buy the property. That's another good place to start. And then you can start looking at, you know, what kind of property to purchase. Is it an income producing property, which is the properties we like to focus on with our clients, given the conversation we're having today. So yeah, it's absolutely the right place to start.
I agree. That is definitely something people have to realize. Purchasing a home is not something you just wake up one day and say, I'm doing it. You have to do your homework, and you have to prepare yourself so that when you're ready, you don't have these surprises, and you've aligned yourself correctly so that you're ready to make that move.
Absolutely. I think one of the other key things too, when, you know, coming from an asset, debt, and income, you know, a real estate income property perspective, is taking the emotion out of it. A lot of the time when people are buying a home, they're looking at it from, you know, a house they're going to love, right? But when you're looking at it from an investment perspective, it's an investment. It's a means to an end. It's a stepping stone to the next property. So there's no emotion involved. It's a business transaction. And I think that's one of the other things that we show our clients is take the emotion out. This is not your dream house. This is on the road to your dream house.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely. I've seen that myself.
Yeah.
They want all the bells and whistles, and it's like, really? You're going to be renting this place out. Not saying it should be a dump, but don't look at it as being your dream home with everything blaring at you.
Yeah, you don't have to live there. You don't want to live there. It's a leverage asset, and the person who's going to be living there, they're going to respect it very much because they might not be able to afford to live where you live.
Exactly.
Or might be able to buy where you buy, but they respect that level of living, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a personal choice, right?
And also to put yourself in the mindset of you're building a portfolio. So don't look at the home as being, well, when I'm ready to sell it. We don't encourage, you're not selling anything, you're keeping it.
Exactly.
So that's also something to get them out of that mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Like your job is not to change a person's lifestyle. Your job is to make something convenient to what they're looking for. So that's what we do here at Remake Realty.
Okay.
Exactly. And potentially enhance their lifestyle, right? We're not looking to change it in terms of making them house poor, or we're looking to enhance your lifestyle. We're looking to add this positive cash flow to your life to be able to do more things with that, create more savings, create more investment, you know, and then give you that peace of mind 20, 25 years from now for the lifestyle you're looking to live.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And all these things that we're talking about, you don't need the highest degree of education. You don't need a PhD.
No.
You just have to be willing to take the move, willing to take the risk and jump in and follow what you're being taught. Right? So,
Actually, you do need a PhD to do this.
Okay.
You need a program called a Push Here Dummy program.
All right then.
Push Here Dummy program. It's pretty simple, right?
Yes.
You buy the property, you rent it out, you make money.
Right.
End of story. Push Here Dummy. That's it.
so I could stand corrected. You do need a
You
PhD.
do need a PhD.
Okay. All right.
And you can have that within 30 seconds. You don't need to spend 20 years in school. 30 seconds to get your PhD program.
There you go.
Of course.
So, another point that you noted, Frank, was that you have to make the asset insurable. So explain that for me.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. You put in 20% down, 5% on 10% on whatever your down payment qualification is. The bank finance the rest, okay? You're putting tenants into that property, okay? If something goes wrong, you're still on the hook for that 80% debt.
Right.
So you want to make sure if something goes wrong, who's going to cover that 80% debt? Insurance. A fire, flood in basement, break and enter, it has to be insurable. If it's not insured, then it's you don't want that kind of liability on you. So we only take part in debts that's insured, insurance recovered. Okay? So all the way from beginning to end, you're 100% covered.
Right.
So your exposed or your negative leverage is as based on your down payment. That's your maximum loss in any given situation.
Right.
Okay? So you're protected for the most part.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Another point I was thinking about as well is we're saying to leverage your assets to take on more debt. Now, we've all been taught, everyone's dream, I think the Canadian dream or the American dream or whose ever dream is to pay off your mortgage. Everyone's dream is let's pay off our mortgage.
Right.
So we live mortgage free. But in actuality, you're saying to take that equity and take on more debt to acquire more assets.
Right. Well, it's not even a dream, Desiree. It's actually a worry. It's a Canadian worry. They call it the Canadian dream. It's actually Canadian worry. So here we have going on right now. We have seniors who follow that same model. They bought a home, paid off, put everything into their house, zero mortgage. Now it's time to retire. What do you need at retirement?
Money.
Income.
Yeah.
Where's the income coming from? There's none. So now they either have to refinance their property. They're taking on what now? More debt.
Yes.
You take on more debt in your old age, which is absolutely crazy.
Right.
So you're taking on more debt now to do what? You're investing in stuff that can give you very basic to little or no return. Interest rate is 3 to 4%. The investment giving you 3 to 4% is like a wash, and it doesn't even make any sense. And that's the major problem. So what that turns into is a Canadian worry, not a Canadian dream. So what I'm advising a lot of people to do right now, control your first home, okay? Work overtime to pay down as much as possible, but don't get too comfortable with that. As soon as you get equity in your first home, you take that money out and buy a variation of property over the years and create what we call a portfolio. We do portfolio real estate. So now, let's go right back to that same individual.
Right.
So now you have 3-4 properties, including your personal home. You have income coming from all of them. Over the last 25 years, they all have been paid on to a comfortable level, if not zero.
Right.
Your original home, you can still live in it while you have income coming from the rest of your property. Income producing property.
So what you're actually creating then is a passive residual income.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Through real estate.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
In the future, you can refinance that home, send your kids to school, pay for their wedding, give them the first down payment to buy their first home, and you can leverage those properties to do many different things. Can you imagine owning 3-4 properties you bought it in the 60s? What your financial
You have to chuckle at that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. What your financial portfolio be like today?
Yeah.
Can we turn back?
In the GTA,
Yes.
because you can buy a property in the 60s, different part of this country, the results will be the same. But in the GTA,
Yeah.
you bought properties in the 60s or
Yes.
even 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yes.
Forget that. Even 5 years ago,
Yes.
you bought properties some part of the GTA.
Absolutely.
You sit in some pretty decent equity.
Absolutely.
Right. So you might having 3-4 of them. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. We help you establish your real estate portfolio over the series of a bunch of years to get you going and protecting your family financial assets for the future.
And also keep in mind that if you purchase the right investment property, the equity you're taking out of your home is not going to be paid back by you. It's going to be paid back with the positive cash flow that
Right.
you're getting from the additional
That's
property.
right.
That's
so
right.
again, you're having someone else pay off this debt for you.
That's right.
Right.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Okay, so in general, we're saying that the more debt you take on, it's the wealthier you become. And
Yeah.
that's totally the theme for 2016.
That's right.
Make the move, take on additional debt, come and talk to us at Remake
Right.
Realty.
That's right.
Take action.
Take action and let us, any one of us, help you. You're working with a
Absolutely.
team with combined experience. I'd say it's over probably 30, 40 years experience combined.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you definitely have that experience behind you and the knowledge.
That's right.
And we also don't just tell you to do this. We are all actively
Doing it
Right.
ourselves.
doing
We
it
practice it
That's right.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
definitely follow these steps. And if you are actually taking aside from this topic, if you actually are in debt where you're not ready to make that move yet, we can show you how to take steps to reduce
Absolutely.
That debt. That's
your
right.
current bad debt and make it into good debt.
So you can call our office at 1-888-88-REMIC or 1-888-887-3642. You can also send us an email at info@remicrealty.com. That's info@remicrealty.com. And schedule an appointment. One-on-one, me and you, Desiree and you, Alicia and you, we sit with you and understand what you currently have, asset-wise, what you currently have debt-wise. Once we assess your situation, we can decide how much property you can afford to buy. 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, and then we create a plan for you. At that point now, we get the mortgage stuff set up for you, and we get everything in line to make you start moving forward to buy another property, a second property, a third property, and so on. And remember, equity is equal to dead money. So if you have equity in your home, you're not using it, it's dead money. It's not working for
Right.
you. Okay?
Exactly.
Like, listen, interest rate right now is 2.6%, 2.9%, 3%. So equity is a 3% of your savings. It's a waste of time. You can't become rich doing that.
Right.
Okay? So you have to leverage that equity to get 30, 40, 50% rate of return on your money per year over the next 20, 30 years plus to come. And you should be good to go.
And remember, what we're saying is not something you need to think about. People are living longer.
Right.
Dying at 60 or 70 nowadays is young. We're living into our 80s, 90s, and 100s.
That's
so you
right.
need to take the step to ensure you have enough money that you're not a burden to your children.
Right.
You're not a victim of the system either.
Children, generational wealth.
Yes.
So teaching them how to rinse and repeat this
Absolutely.
process.
Absolutely.
I think that's a key missing factor actually that's been missing for maybe 30 or 40 years is the idea of teaching your children exactly how to do that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
But they have a new model. It's called Do It For Them. That's what the parents do. They do everything for the kids. I do everything for my kids.
Yeah.
So
Right.
what are you doing to the kid? You're trying to you make them disabled.
Yes.
right.
Okay, so you got to teach them exactly what you're doing. So they can duplicate the process.
Exactly.
Right. And if you don't teach them what you're doing, you make a lot of money. Good for you. When you die, they can give it back to somebody else. They
Exactly.
don't want to duplicate it, they don't want to
That's
maintain
right.
it. They're going to give it away to someone else for absolutely free.
Yeah.
So teaching them is very important.
Exactly. All right. Do we have any further closing words?
No.
No, I think we're good to
I
go.
think we're good to
For the
go.
most
Great.
part, we got all the points in concerning acquiring more debt, and people should start taking it serious. It's 2016,
Exactly.
and don't listen to mainstream media news for financial education. Come and talk to experts or people who understand what's going on in the marketplace. Come and see what we're doing personally, and we can explain all that stuff to you in a one-on-one meeting. Come and sit and talk to us, and there's no fear. And if you're scared, it's okay. You shouldn't be scared.
Yes.
You're going into a change in your life. We're changing your financial future. So a little bit scared is very, very normal. And I see grown men weep, and I see little girls get excited. So it's a part of the process. I tell everyone when you sit and talk to me, if you're sitting across the table from me and you're not scared, I'm scared for you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's no way on earth you're going to tell me whether you're 25 years old or 55 years old. You can sit across the table from me, and I'm trying to take on $500,000, even $1 million, $2, $3 million of debt, and you're not scared.
Yes.
So it's mandatory that you're scared. Everyone goes through that. Now, two options are scared. You can scared and sit and do nothing and let your fear overcome you. Or you can overcome your fear by saying, I'm scared to do this, but I'm going to try to do it anyways. So do my due diligence, get as much information up front, ask 20 million questions, but I move forward and get it done anyways. Mm-hmm. And that's the person able to say, you know what? I remember the first time I sit and talk to Frank or Aliza or Desiree, I was peeing in my pants, but look at me today.
Exactly. So people, be scared, take the step, pick up your phone, send an email, contact us, and start making that change.
Excellent.
Let's do it.
All right. To your success.
To your success.
Cheers.
See ya.
All right.